tunes. And now we pause. Ready? It's Toilet Tunes. I'm your host, Sarah Morris. Folks come to my big green bathroom somewhere north of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we sing a little, we talk a bit, we put it out on the internet just in time for your Friday afternoon. Stay toilet tuned, stay toilet tuned. That was our pause. I'm Sarah Morris, and I like to sing in the bathroom with people, and people like Holly Hansen sometimes say yes. And so here we go.
Northern lights in our skies, plants that growing, open your mind, things that swing with the neon glow. We all got here, nobody knows. These are real things, these are real things. Oh, what a world don't wanna leave. There's all kinds of magic all around us. It's hard to believe. Thank God it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. Did I know you once in another life? Are we here just once or a billion times? Well, I wish I knew. It doesn't matter, 'cause you're here right now, and I know what I feel. These are real things. These are real things. Oh, what a world I don't wanna leave. There's all kinds of magic all around us. It's hard to believe. Thank God it's not too good to be true. Oh, what a world. And then there is you. These are real things. These are real things. Oh, what a world.
There's all kinds of magic. And it's not too good to be true. And then there is you.
And then there is you. Don't resolve it.
We're not resolving it, but can we high five? Yes! Holly Hansen! That was Oh What a World by Kacey Musgraves, and it's perfect for this time of year, right?
Absolutely, Northern Lights.
We had the Northern Lights, it's about to be spring. I just listened to this beautiful podcast about biomimicry, and it got me all like that married with learning the song for today.
Oh, that's perfect.
Gave me all the feelings.
I love it.
Yeah. Holly Hansen. You also, oh, I'm off screen. You also are known sometimes as Zoo Animal.
Yes.
That's your band.
Yep.
I know you mostly as Holly because I got to work with you in your studio, Salon Sonics, recording an album that I'm about to put out.
Such good songs, such good performers. That was a hoot.
It was so much fun. We did it just about a year ago.
And you're the best snack person I've ever experienced.
That's all I ever wanted to hear.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
I had heard about you in your musical context for years and years and years before we booked time in your studio to record the album, and I just found working with you to be so fun and inspiring, and like I've worked with wonderful engineers, but I hadn't worked with an engineer that was also a vocalist, and so there were many times where you knew exactly the right thing to say to me to like get me to the next step, and
I love to do that.
I want to say thank you publicly.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for letting me sing with you. That song, I love it. I told you earlier, it's right at the top of my range, but I just thought, let's just have some fun and try it anyways. So,
And did you have some fun?
Oh, I had so much fun. It's nice to have someone who's so good at harmonizing. It's
I
just
loved
incredible.
harmonizing with you.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit. You wanted to sit up well in your chair. That makes me feel like you have a choral background somewhere hiding in your life.
Well, I mean, I did sing in
Or
high
just
school
good
choir.
posture. Yeah.
I think I just have a weak voice, so I know I need a lot of support. No, I almost never sing sitting, I realize, so I think that's part of it is I'm trying to be like I'm standing up. But yeah, I mean, I sang, my main singing came, like I did take vocal lessons because I was in a play when I was in second grade where I was like a paid actor singer person.
Oh.
And then, that's like where I mostly learned like the formal singing stuff.
Yes.
Which I maybe still use, I don't know.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'm certain that you do. I mean, that was kind of what I meant when we were in the studio. Like you clearly had such a sense of the instrument as well as the psychology.
Yeah, which I think that was what I was most excited about when I started my studio, because I felt like there were so many times I was in the studio and I felt alone when I was singing, because I felt like the people there just did not get what was necessary for me to resonate with my whole body and my soul and my spirit and the song and the people that you're imagining will be listening to it someday. Yeah. It's like there's so much going on. Yeah. It's so important to make that have space, for sure. Yeah. I love doing that for people in the studio.
And you do it so well.
Thank you.
Salon Sonics Studio, I've linked below because you probably want to make an album too. So, Zoo Animal, when did Zoo Animal begin?
Zoo Animal began in 2000, probably 7. We released our first record in 2008. It was literally because a bar in Minneapolis, this is back in MySpace days, asked me to play a show, and I was like, oh my goodness, I better get a band together. So I asked my friend to play bass who didn't play bass.
Yes, and this is good. That's a good start.
I found someone to drum from my college, and we just did it, and I had a little zebra bobblehead in my car, and then I just thought Zoo Animal, that's the name of the band.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great story. And then you were all the rage. I feel like I would see Zoo Animal in all the places that you want to see a band name, and you did some cool things.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool.
Yes. And how did you transition from rock star to also you're still a rock star and also recording rock stars? Like, how did that...
Well, I always loved recording. I recorded myself in my basement when I was in high school, and then I got a sound art degree from a community college. Okay. And then I wanted to go into studio stuff, but I got an internship at the 331 Club doing live sound, which it's like such a simple setup. It was kind of like, I kind of shot myself in the foot because it's like I didn't really have to learn anything. Sure. But I didn't shoot myself in the foot because I ended up meeting like every single person in the music scene because I had that job. Yeah. And but then it's like I kind of ignored this thing that I love, and I still made some like electronic music stuff on the side, which I still do, but I know that that's just for me. Yeah. But I actually had a moment and I did live sound for a while, but I had a moment where I was going to sing on a record at Pachyderm, and I remember sitting at the back of the studio looking around, like taking note of what was going on, and I was like, if the engineer said, Holly, can you take over? I would know what to do. And I thought, why don't I call myself an engineer?
Yeah.
Like, I need to just start claiming it, because I also just had so many experiences in the studio where I felt like I wasn't getting what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like I always wanted to like grab the wheel.
Yes.
And it was like that moment at Pachyderm, I was like, I can.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
I should grab the wheel. So then I did.
I love that. I think it's always interesting, like the journeys that we all have in different ways to like authorize ourselves to do the thing we're already doing. We're already doing whatever that thing
Permission
is.
is such a huge thing.
Yes.
I always feel like I'm waiting for someone to give me permission. It's like no one ever will. And no one's ever going to encourage you to go into music.
Right. No, that's true.
No one. If you are waiting for someone to encourage you to do it, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because you're not motivated enough.
A lot of times I think like with putting songs out there, it's like, well, no one's going to come if I get nervous about like sharing my stuff.
Yes.
I'm like, here's the deal. No one's going to come knocking at my door saying, hey, Sarah, do you have some new songs we can hear? That's not going to happen.
No.
So the only way this works is if I have to initiate it.
Yes.
And you have to have that awkward moment where you just declare it. Like,
yep.
I'm a songwriter.
Yep.
I'm a, whatever.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. It's hard to do, but you have to say it.
Yeah.
Claim it.
Our session was like the penultimate session at your previous incarnation of Salon Sonics, which was in St. Paul, and had really cool light and like was super vibey, and we just had the best time, and it was right by a really great coffee shop. And then I got to be the first vocal session at your new space, which also has great light and is super vibey. Does not have a coffee shop in the building.
No, it doesn't.
But it's pretty close to a great wine store.
Yes.
Have you been yet?
No, I still haven't been.
All right.
Also, Sample Room is down the road, which is a great restaurant.
Yes.
Yes, but it is definitely, you'd have to walk quite a ways to get a coffee shop.
Okay, that's okay. I would bring coffee for our next session. And in addition to that, you also are doing like some guitar techie.
Yes.
Coolness, right?
Yeah.
So you just know so much.
I'm just learning. I've always been someone who music's always been this. I've always been doing music, and it kind of shifts how that is. But I just like to learn new things, especially when they're things that are all connected. Yeah. And honestly, learning this guitar tech stuff has made me fall in love with guitar in a way. I think maybe love is a strong word. For me, guitar has always been a tool.
Yep.
To write songs.
Yes.
And I have so much fun playing it, but it's like, I'm starting a new relationship with guitar that I don't think I would have had if I wasn't doing this. It's really fun.
And I'm guessing, like, how long has your relationship with guitar already been? Like, how long have you been involved?
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see, 25 years.
Right. Like, how fascinating that you can be in relationship with something for 25 years and then suddenly fall newly in love with it. Yeah. So let's just extend that metaphor to everything.
You can just do that. It's real.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think we get into this, like, this story's already been told, or this is already, like, we do that about our own selves, like, I am this person.
Right.
But no, like, there's no reason that at some point, like, something happens and...
There's just it's just a shift, and then it's something that's completely different. That's how guitar feels for me right now.
I love that.
Yeah.
That feels like a good segue into the first official question I ask, which is, Holly, will you tell me something good? Tell me. Something big, small, anything that's lighting up your world.
I knew you were going to ask this question, and I forgot about it, and I didn't prepare something.
That's great.
Well, well, that was a crazy resonance in your guitar.
Just get it.
Oh, I didn't get it again. Honestly, this new space that my studio's in, I was studioless for a few months, and I thought, well, I can make it work. And I don't think I realized how down I was.
Yeah.
I kind of just was like, I gotta do what I gotta do, but I think it really bummed me out, and I felt lost. Yeah. And I feel like I'm finally getting the studio, like it's booked, it's going, and it feels like people are... The thing I want the most is to host a space where people feel like they can relax. Yeah. And they feel like it's theirs. And I feel like almost everyone who's been in there is like, I would like to be in this room longer.
Yes!
And that is so good to me. I'm like, okay, that feels like fulfilling, you know.
I think, are you familiar with Priya Parker at all? Mm-mm. She's a writer and a thinker her book is The Art of Gathering.
Okay.
And she's someone that I've come into like knowledge of in the last few years because people started going to her, in COVID, like, well, talk to us about gathering now in this weird world that we're in. But in listening to her, I'm always inspired by the many, many ways that you can essentially be a host. And I don't think a lot of people start a studio relationship. I want to have a studio where people feel this way, you know? But like, I think it says something that's, you are super intentional about creating your space. Not, I want hip gear or I want, to make gold records. Although that will happen. And yes, of course. But like, but what I'm hearing from you is like this intention to like create a space where people feel comfortable and safe enough and, inspired to make their best thing.
Absolutely. I think about this a lot, and I actually want to ask some other engineers about this because when you run a studio, you're creating a product for someone else to sell, but what your product is actually the time that they're there. Mm. But also you need to make sure that their product is good. Yeah. And so balancing, like I feel like some engineers, they're always thinking about the artist's product. Sure. That they forget to think about theirs. Yeah. And which I think actually hurts the final product. Yep. Because they're missing the step that is like their responsibility. And so I feel like there's times when I'm like planning out how to do something, or like especially when someone's working within a tight budget.
Which is probably almost always.
Almost always. So then you have to be like, yeah, you're in a situation where you're like, okay, what do I do about this moment that I think there's maybe a teeter-totter between their experience and their final product? Yeah. And you're the one who has to make that decision quietly. Mm-hmm. And I always wonder what other engineers think about that. Like, do they think about the audience that the artist is going to have later, or are they thinking about the artist? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah. To hold. And I want to know too, other engineers. And we have like a really great community of engineers.
Oh, such a great community.
Yeah. So I bet you could have a really cool round table at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd love to host something.
You could host it. You taught a class once, probably more than once, at 331, speaking of which, on how to run in sound. And I found that to be, as a singer, so valuable because it's just so nice to have a little bit more awareness of all the roles. All right, well, that is good. The new space. Go see it. Go book some time. Make your product. And she'll think of her product and your product. The next question is, I know you get to listen to a lot of things in your line of work, but would you spin us out to something that's really getting your ears hot? Something that we can listen to. So it can't be something you're working on, but something that's like music that's new or old, but is really clicking for you right now.
Yes. I have this artist that I cannot stop listening to, and it kind of goes in phases, and I'm back in this phase where I will listen, especially this one song. The CD's in my van, and I just leave it in there, and I can listen to this song on repeat for like 45 minutes.
What song is it? Now I'm dying to know.
It's Candy Staten. Okay. And it's He Called Me Baby. And it's just the most tasteful production. Yeah. Like, so perfectly put together. The performances are, like, so cool. Just perfect. No overplaying. Just the right amount of everything. And her singing is, like... there's this, like, I cannot... It's almost like, I feel like, am I having a problem here that I'm just, like... It's almost like I feel like I'm addicted to that record and that song. It's like I could just listen to it over and over.
I know the name Candy Staten, but it's current or past?
Past. Her biggest song is a disco hit. I can't think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of it.
I will link to this. Is the song He Called Me Baby? Like it's a Harlan Howard one or something? Or is it
maybe? Yeah, it sounds like He Called Me Baby all night long.
Yes. I've got a version. Leanne Womack recently covered it for one of her albums, which is a beautiful album, and I think a fun game also would be to like back to back the
Oh, sure.
the different versions.
Yes. Yeah. That there's like it's the Candy Staten record that is her sessions from Fame.
She was in Fame, the movie?
No, it's a studio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The TV show, Fame.
Yeah. You know, her 70s disco stuff is cool, but it's for me, it's like the old soul stuff that it's just like everything lines up, and it's just like my heart is like.
I will link to it below, and we can all listen to it for 45 minutes. That's good.
Good. Yeah.
Last question is, Holly, where are you learning right now?
Oof. I am learning me, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning about guitars and stuff, but I feel like I'm very much in this phase. I started Artist Way this year, which I know you've done. And so writing 3 pages a morning, I don't always do it, but I try. I'm actually going to restart it right now. I'm definitely like in a mid-30s phase of who am I really, though? And what have I not been looking at?
Yeah.
And it's been really interesting.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And the Artist Way, how into it are you?
I actually just finished 12 weeks,
okay.
But I definitely gave myself a lot of leeway.
And I think that's good. I mean, I think that...
You have to, or you just never do it.
Did you do it by yourself?
Yes, I was going to do it with a couple people, and they couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm restarting it with a couple gals that I'm really excited to do it with.
I think it's so rich in the way... Like, I've done it two and a half times is what I've done.
Okay.
And both times with groups.
Yes.
That I've finished it. And I totally would do it again. You know, I mean, it's like a very... I feel like every time I do it, there's something new. And Rick Rubin has a book that just came out about
just heard about
creativity.
that. Yeah.
And so far, I'm very much enjoying it, but there was an interview where he was like, there just weren't any books about creativity. And he was like, well, there was The Artist Way, but that's really just about writing. And I was like, dude, what? I want to punch you in the face right now. Not really, but I mean, like...
I do not see it that way.
I was like, exactly, thank you.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just think that book, even though, you know, there's places where it gets kind of woo-woo for some people.
For sure.
But I think if you surrender yourself to the possibility of that book, there's such a gift there.
Yes. Well, talk about the permission thing.
Yes.
It really helps with that. For sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is the part of the show where I get to thank my Sarah subscribers over on Patreon. Thank you so much for being there. I love you all so much for allowing me to do things like invite people to my bathroom, for allowing me to do things like hire Holly to help me make a record. She's glad too, for all of you. I paid my bills on time. Holly, thank you so much for being here. And
absolutely.
for
Thanks
doing
for
what
having
you
me.
do. It was just... I'm just a big fan. I'm glad I got an excuse to hang out with you.
Absolutely, me too.
Woohoo! Toilet Tunes, most Fridays at noon. Until I see you next time, stay Toilet Tunes.